Hello, this is Fritz-Ay Says, and welcome to Eden's Reach. So, I know literally nothing about this VN besides it being more sci-fi oriented, but it's one that I've seen around. I'm looking forward to getting it started, so let's go. My ears ring as the sound of those damned alarms pierce my eardrums, red blaring across my vision. Red lights are spiraling across a nearly endless hallway, slightly illuminating the metal tiles below me. The air is thin, almost making me suffocate with each breath I take. I try to feel my body and make sense of what is happening. My fur is all bristled and I can't make out why. Suddenly, a force pushes me onward into the hallway, indistinct screaming coming from all directions around me. Confusion continues to fill my mind as I feel something pull on my arm. It was a tight grip, a sensation I'd never felt before. It keeps urging me to move forward, and like clockwork, my body just moves. I slowly lose all control of my body as one thought invades my mind. Run! Just keep running! The grip on my arm suddenly loosens as I continue running forward. Suddenly, a gleam of light comes from the end of the hallway, a door. There are several windows strewn across the edges, glowing in stark contrast of blue compared to the rest of the dreary atmosphere of this corridor. I start bolting towards the door, yet I slowly notice that I wasn't moving at all. I was stuck in place, kind of like in a treadmill. It adjusts itself based on how fast or slow I'm moving. Yet the screams and banging footsteps from behind me kept drawing closer and closer. Suddenly, a loud bang sound echoes through my ears, jolting me awake. That dream again. That'll teach me to watch horror movies at midnight. That dream's been coming back a lot more often lately. It goes around the same key steps, the alarms blaring, the sudden force of my arm, then that sound. It varies from each instance. Sometimes it's a splattering of blood, other times it's the sound of a gunshot. Although it still bothers me every now and then, I've learned to just live with it and not let it impede my schedule. And yes, surfing the web in my PJs for most of the day, looking for DJ gigs is a valuable use of time. I groan as I toss and turn on my bed, searching for my phone under the rubble of my belongings on my end table. The alarm had been going off for 30 minutes now. It was supposed to wake me up by 9 a.m., and now it's 9:31. Not too late, I guess. I sit by the edge of my bed, stretching as my tail escapes the warm embrace of my blanket. After doing some standing stretches, I go through my closet, gathering some new clothes to replace my pajamas. Disrobing my comfy PJs across my body, I take the time to appreciate myself in front of my mirror. The more I stare at myself, though, the more I regret not going to the gym with Dylan more often. After that disappointing display, I sluggishly put on my shirt and some baggy shorts, my phone placed in one of the pockets. I walk towards the kitchen in a similar fashion to make myself some breakfast. As I plant my butt into one of the seats, though, I receive a text from someone. I unlock my phone and I'm greeted by another notification. New OS version. Ah, crap. I gotta re-input all my information again. I fumble around the screen a bit, making sure my big paws wouldn't accidentally let go of this small-ass projector module. Those things are so tiny. About as thin as a single French fry among the boxes they sell in fast food restaurants downtown. After going through that boring process again, the update asks for my name. Well, that was easy. Let me just type it in here. Insert name here. I'm feeling a Miles. Let's go with that. Name confirmed. Enjoy your new operating system. Meals. The AI butchered my name a bit, but that's to be expected at this point. After exiting my phone settings, I go through all my other notifications. Among them was a text from Dylan. As I grabbed a carton of milk from the fridge and a box of cereal from the cabinet, I read his text. Yo, Miles! Got time to go to Burnham's today? I place the carton and box down on the table and start replying. I thought that coffee shop wasn't your style. Well, I was in the area, so you know. Why not meet me there? You're lucky I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Of course, Dylan's always been a bit spontaneous with his meetups. I regrettably put the milk carton back in the fridge, as well as the box of cereal in the cabinet. Maybe next time, my darlings. I grabbed my sling bag that was hung on the rack, placing my phone and my wallet in it. I then went to take my headphones from my bedroom and resync them to my phone. The update must have disconnected them from my PC's cloud, as most of my personal playlists were gone. Well, so much for a diverse walk across the neighborhood. After brushing my head fur with a comb, I grabbed my favorite flip-flops from the rack next to the door, bursting it open with some enthusiasm. Watch out, Bayline City. Miles here to see the light of day. I wrapped my headphones around my ears, adjusting around them automatically to fit my anatomy. It was a nuisance that the store brands in my area never really got them right for my species. Besides, I love these bad boys better because I made them. I take out my phone and start my playlist, beginning my walk towards Burnham's coffee shop, one of my favorite places to just take a seat and relax. I'd do it more often if only my wallet agreed with that kind of lifestyle. There was a small scattering of crowds across the sidewalk, but the ground and air traffic was always a marvel. All this cool technology that I usually take for granted just sticks out to me today. Was it boredom? Was it because I stayed home for a week straight? Regardless of the reason, I simply stare at the zooming cars and drones in the sky and the equally fast vehicles on the ground. The music on my phone only amplified the atmosphere, my head bopping as I immersed myself around the turn towards the city plaza. The plaza itself was as stunning as everything else around it. It's a haven for basically all walks of life, however dull or exciting they may be. Just plop down some of Eden Corp's hard light emitters and you've basically got a set stage for whatever you want to do around here. There were the usual street performers around the corner and the service robots selling ice cream on their floating carts. The crowds forming around the fast food chains mixed with the more high-end restaurants could not be missing. It certainly speaks volumes that the crowd was already this dense so early in the morning. The plaza is well known for its nighttime view after all. As I made my way towards Burnham's Coffee, there was a rather loud crowd piercing through my music. I take off my headphones out of curiosity, collapsing onto my paws as I investigate what was making all the commotion. To my disappointment, it was just another one of those protests against Eden Corps. I never really understood all the hate going around that company. Sure, I'm not blind to all the drama they stir up, but they've certainly done more good than anything else, being the pioneers of the medical technology industry. They thrust the country into being one of the leading powers of society. That was how the endless amounts of articles I've read describe them anyway. Well, out of sight, out of mind. I ignore the protesters as I continue my way towards the coffee shop, which is just a short ways behind the central fountain area. It was something I liked about the location, hidden away from the rest of the glittery shops taking all the major crowds, leaving the more calm and quiet atmosphere to the back end. The door automatically slides open as I step onto the carpet, the smell of fresh coffee beans greeting me on the way in. Burnham's Coffee. Everything about this place just spells relaxing. It's one of the few places where I honestly preferred the coffee shop's smooth jazz to my own music, often getting lost in the atmosphere of the place. My allured state is cut short as someone snaps their fingers in front of me. Yo, Eartha Miles? Oh, it's just you. This excitable kangaroo, he's an absolute chore to keep up with sometimes. This time around, though, I need his energetic attitude. Mornings are always the most tempting times to just do nothing and laze about, and while it can be difficult, I do enjoy his company a lot. We've been attached to the hip since high school, and I couldn't imagine someone else helping me through dropping out of college other than him. It's even practical considering he did it first. Jeez, I don't know what you see in this place that always gets you so high. If you had some taste for aesthetics, you'd be high too. Please, my taste is better than yours. Only in your wet dreams, Di. Dylan grabs me by the shoulder, dragging me towards a pair of seats. He sat down on one of those special extra comfy seats that's only the early regulars usually take. Guess he was really close in the area. Did you order anything already? I take my seat next to him, unwrapping the sling bag from my shoulder in the process. Ha! You know I don't order shit from coffee shops. Yeah, and you'll always make me order milk tea with you. It's indefinitely better than the stuff you drink in the morning. Or you just have an insatiable sweet tooth. I take my wallet out of my bag, standing up as Dylan stretches a bit behind me. You gonna order the usual? Yep, mocha frappe, baby. I immediately go to the lineless counter, the cashier looking at me quite expectantly. I'm a semi-regular here, so we're quite familiar with each other. The usual, Miles. Hit me up with the best you got. The cashier rings me up and lets me scan my phone for the receipt. It only takes about half a minute for the entire thing to be ready, thanks to the mix of barista and some high-tech machinery to get the whole thing done. Here you go. Enjoy the coffee. Thanks. I eagerly take a few sips off the cup. Its pure mocha taste and cold liquid running down through my throat. It was always the best feeling in the world drinking from this place. The blend of bitter and sudden sweet aftertaste that the drink somehow captures just completes my morning. I plant my butt onto my seat once more, with Dylan just scrolling through his phone as his ears perk up to greet me. Yo, Miles! Just got news of that gig you wanted me to check up on. My eyes widen as I place my mocha frappe down on the table. I've been waiting for him to get back to me for almost half a month now. You actually got a spot for me at that nightclub? Yep, the same one I moonlight on. I had my boss check your stuff, and he's willing to give you a chance. Holy shit, Di. That club's gonna get me set up for sure. His smile suddenly disappears, though, as he gets another text from what I assume is his boss. Well, better get your best tracks coming, because he said he can only give you a later at night slot. Seriously? That early? A pit in my stomach begins to form as panic starts setting in. I drink from my frappe and try to calm myself, but Di knew that wasn't going to work. Say, Miles, I know you're nervous and all, but we better get you ready for tonight. I can even lend you some spending cash if you're short. But I already owe you. What, a few grand at this point? Well, one of us isn't teetering around being a homeless husky with only a DJ pad and a cute face to his name. Okay, but I'm definitely paying you back with the money from this gig. All the better. Dylan pulls me by the arm as he brought me out of Burnham's, almost making me spill my frappe. I hastily pull my sling bag with me, creating a chaotic chain of energy with Dylan leading the fray. Di, slow down. It won't be until tonight. Exactly why we gotta get through the entire plaza. The entire plaza? But I don't need that much for the gig. Shush. Less talking, more walking. Come on, chop chop. Eventually we reach the center of the plaza at a breakneck pace, causing quite a ruckus between the two of us. I can only hope that the entirety of Bayline City isn't looking at these two idiots in its most foot traffic heavy landmark. Could you please just slow down for a moment? It's not like we're in any rush. Really? Judging from my last look at your wardrobe, our current pace is definitely warranted. What's wrong with my usual duds? Trust me, your clothes aren't gonna cut it at my joint. It's as much of a fashion contest as a DJ gig there. I decide to ignore his several jabs at my choice of clothing. Despite wanting to tear him a new one, I just sigh as I pull Dylan to a stop and turn him around to face me. Come on, Di. Judging by the way you described it, it's clear that my wallet can't take the beating for the stuff your bar considers passable. Hello? That's why I'm here to pay for it. I'll get the cheapest options if that helps ease your conscience. Dylan proceeds to wrap his arm around my shoulders as he ruffles my head fur. He knows damn well how to soften me up for any of his ideas. This is just one of the easier tactics he can pull. My fur. Stop being such a crybaby. You'll have plenty of time to get ready, right? Fine. But I get to pick the store. Ah, but that's half the fun. That's why I'm taking it. Dylan and I walk around the Plaza's commercial district a while, going through the different boutiques and clothing shops littered in the area. Not a lot of them fit the vibe I was looking for, or they were too expensive both for me and Dylan. This one? Bought there once. The clothes are too tight. Really? And I thought your slim physique let you slip through anything. A little benefit of not having baked buns for pecs. The buttons on these clothes would literally fly off if you wore them. Something tells me you'd still enjoy the view, though. Oh, shut up, Di. I revel in my small display of sarcasm as another store catches my attention. It carries such a different atmosphere compared to the others surrounding stalls and stores. The inside is mostly blocked out, and it sticks out with its dark paint job amidst the otherwise bright and glittery Plaza architecture. Hey, this place seems promising. Let's see. Neon Peaks. I think I've heard of this place. His face lights up with curiosity as he's only seeing this place for the first time. I've only vaguely heard of something like this being set up a few months ago, which explains the contrasting theme. Well, I'm all ears. What do you know? This here is an electronics store. They sell some armlets and phones in here, but it's fused with a surprising amount of cosmetics, and they're less about design and more about flexible functionality. Whoa. Where'd the sudden spiel come from? Heard it from a bar patron. Couldn't stop hyping this place up to his friend. I didn't think they'd actually build a branch downtown. Huh. And what about that flexible functionality this place is known for? I may have an idea. I'm gonna be keeping it a surprise, though. Of course you will. I roll my eyes as I enter the store, and immediately I'm immersed deep into the atmosphere. The hard masonry of the plaza was replaced by the soft foam to carpet flooring of the store. The place has a cooler hue of blue to it, which only amplifies the ambience playing in the sound systems. Holy shit! They weren't kidding about this place! I think I just found my favorite store in the plaza. Hey, don't lose focus. Our goal's right there. He points towards the doorless closet filled with both folded and hanging clothes. I rush towards it and peruse the selection as soon as I am able, with Dylan to the side casually helping me out. As I kept flipping through the several vests and jackets, I started slowly realizing what Dylan meant by flexible functionality. Most of the selection is RGB synced clothes that change and react to the store's system. Upon closer inspection, they're surprisingly cheaper compared to other brands. These cut nearly half the usual cost. As I continue browsing through the rows of clothes, Dylan suddenly pokes my shoulder. Hey Miles, I bet that'll look great on you. Okay, let me try it on then. I quickly put on the RGB jacket that he pointed out to me. Afterward, Dylan takes me by the shoulders and ushers me in front of the full-length mirror nearby. I look at my reflection, observing the jacket in its full glory. It wasn't particularly snug, if a bit baggy. Guess the tailors had, well, bigger people in mind when they designed these. It's pretty big. It was the only size they got. Besides, I'm sure you'll grow into it. I guess the size is fine. But what about the price tag? Don't worry about it. But if it bothers you so much, it's actually the cheapest option that looks decent. The real question is whether you like it or not. Yeah, I do actually. I'll have to tweak around the settings a bit, but this one speaks to me the most. I quickly take off the jacket and hand it to Dylan. He takes the liberty of folding it neatly before wrapping it around his arm. I straighten out my shirt as it was dragged by the jacket while Dylan pulls out his wallet.
Alright, I'll just have these rung up. Why don't you wait outside?
No thanks. I'll just walk around in here for a bit. Browse through the rest of the selection.
Gotcha. Meet me by the entrance?
I give him a nod as he makes his way towards the register. I go about my way and browse through the rest of the electronics sections first, which is just opposite of the apparels. They also sell the latest armlets in the market, all decked out in those boxes, also used for watches. I guess they serve the same purpose, but that only begs the question as to why watches even exist to this day. Suddenly, my phone rings from receiving a notification. I take it out of my bag and this pop up the screen. Immediately, I see a message from an unknown number. I open it cautiously, knowing that even text messages can be catalysts for some forms of viruses that I can't fathom how devious people produce in the first place. Hello, you're Miles, yeah? Who is this? I'm Mr. Aloysius, Dylan's boss at the Midnight Sun Bar. I usually go by Mr. Oswald. Either that, or you can just call me Oswald. Keep things simple. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with your number. It's no problem at all. Oh, and before you ask where I got your number, Dylan gave it to me. Yeah, I felt like that might be the case. Right. I'll let Dylan fill you in on the rest of the details, but I'll give you the directions to the bar. Unless you're carpooling with Dylan, of course, which mostly makes me texting you a bit unnecessary. I guess that is true, but I don't want to come off as being ungrateful. Wait, maybe it's better that I just agree with what he's saying? Oh jeez, this is why I don't deal with bosses. Okay, Miles, calm down. What to say? I'll appreciate it. That doesn't necessarily mean it was for nothing. Maybe something will happen and Dylan and I might not go to the bar together. Then the directions might come in handy. It takes a while for Mr. Oswald to respond to that, but when I did receive his reply, it was rather short. I see. Thank you for the words, Miles. I'll be expecting you tonight. Of course, Mr. Oswald. Wait, expecting me? I wonder if that was a good or bad thing. I set aside my worries, not wanting to pile even more stress onto my psyche. He seemed to like what I said, though, so I guess I didn't fuck up on that account. I go through the path to the exit when I bump into Dylan on the way. He was holding a bag, presumably with my jacket inside, which he nearly dropped because of me. Whoops.
You definitely need more spatial awareness, Miles.
Sorry. We make our way back to the Central Plaza, Dylan holding the bag close to his body. He stops me by the fountain, tugging me by the nape. I immediately stop dead in my tracks as he hands me the bag. Inside it is the jacket and a data chip wrapped in a hard box.
The chip's for the directions and the sinking. I'm sure you know your way around it.
This isn't my first day around the gyroscope. I'll figure it out.
Good. I've still got a few errands to run, so I probably won't be able to pick you up.
Well, it looks like the map's going to be useful after all. That's fine. Mr. Oswald gave me directions.
Really? When did he message you?
Just a few minutes ago.
Already sucking up to my boss, eh? Typical canine.
Go screw yourself, Di. We bump fists before going our separate ways. I take a glance at the direction he was headed, and it really is the opposite of where I was headed. The bag in my hand shakes a fair bit as I quickly make my way back home, filled with excitement to get this jacket set up. I hastily sped through my apartment complex, nearly blasting the door off the hinges of excitement. The bustling city sounds were starting to pick up from outside, but my apartment mostly blocks it off, leaving this feeling of being isolated from the rest of the chaotic world, letting me do things at my own pace. I go inside my room, placing the bag on my bed as I take out its contents.
Alright, time to do this.
All right. We're gonna save there. Oh, this is a interesting look at the Eden's Reach. I'm really digging the jacket, and I love dancing. I love raves, so I'm interested to see where this goes, and hopefully we'll get some lit music. I'm putting the music in post, so I hope that it's syncing up really good. And yeah, this has been Fritz-Ay Says, and everyone have a nice day. Ciao.